Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Luther.
Welcome to the Rangers Journey.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode from the Rangers Journal Scouting Department. This is going to be episode 3 of us looking into a group of players who are about to enter the last 6 months of their contracts. So this is episode 3. I'm Ben. I'm joined tonight again by Stephen. Stephen, how are we, pal?
Good, mate. I'm good. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. This is the first video I've done for these boys, so I'm excited to get into it. Let's see if we can pull the slides up. Here we go. So we've got five players to look at tonight in kind of various positions. First up is a goalkeeper, Kasper Trelowski. He's 22, 6'3", market value €4 million. Plays for I can't even see it. Plays for is it Czechslow in Poland. He's been one that's kind of been popular amongst our chat for even getting back to the summer. Stats per 90 minutes, we've got 11 games, 3 clean sheets, save percentage 59.5%. Shots against per game is 3. Conceded goals, XG. I'm going to have to zoom it in so I can see it. XG conceded per game 15 and it's 13.34, so not too much in it. Prevented goals is negative 1.6. Exits 0.8. Aerial duels 100%. Passing accuracy 84.3% and long passes 62.4%. And we've got our wee chart on it, right? Stephen, I'll bring you in. What are you thinking about looking at Kasper here?
I mean, I think he looks a pretty solid keeper. Some good numbers there, obviously for a team in the Polish league. Obviously 3 clean sheets, 11 games is nothing to sniff at. Save percentage rate 60, almost 60% is obviously a good number. The thing that probably sticks out for me and when you're looking at it just in the numbers is aerial duels, 100% aerial duels, which is something that you need, I think, in our league. There's a lot of obviously physicality, a lot of big strikers, a lot of big centre backs that like to try and ping the ball forward and meet their big target man. So obviously having that sort of aerial prowess for him coming out and gathering crosses and long balls is obviously something that we would definitely be looking for. And again, you look at the bottom, his shots that he's faced, the shots saved and the goals conceded. A lot of the goals that you conceded are in the box. You would like to think, obviously, you wouldn't face as many shots going in the box, obviously, if you're controlling games like we should be. So, yeah, I definitely think there's good numbers there. So, interesting one to be looking at, especially his age. Definitely some room for improvement as well.
That was the first thing I was going to say. I think, obviously, who knows what will happen with kind of Jack Butland in the summer, but he's entering his last year. And you've got Liam Kelly. We are going to be in the market for a goalkeeper probably in the next 2 or 3 windows, maybe even 2 goalkeepers as kind of time progresses. And at 22, it'd be a wise investment. And that was the one thing I looked at, aerial duels 100%. So as you said, teams want to throw crosses in the box and win second balls. So I don't think you can grumble with that. The only other thing I would say, the biggest thing for me a goalkeeper needs at us is he needs to make a save when he has to make it. So is it like you could be doing nothing all game and a team gets a chance, couple of chances, couple of 1v1s because we've switched staff or we've been broke on. And Alan McGregor done it for so long, you just have to make a save.
No, definitely agree with it. So,
right, well, Kasper, thank you, and we will move on. Next up, I know he's a favourite of yours for Football Manager's past mate, Dennis. I'm going to say Sirkin or Kirkin, however you want to look. He is a left back, 23 years of age, plays for Sunderland. Obviously, just been promoted to Premier League for this season. He has entered the last 6 months of his deal. Obviously, we are in the market probably for multiple left backs. I'm just going to zoom in again so I can see. So 39, I'm assuming this is last season, 39 matches played in the Championship. He had 3 goals, 2 assists, passing accuracy 78.8%, long passing 36.3, progressive passes 5.6 per game at 60% accuracy, progressive runs 1.6, crossing accuracy 32.9%, dribbling 2.2 per 90, defensive duels 60%, aerial duels 50%, 4.4 interceptions per game, 7.8 recoveries, and 2.2 clearances per game. So that was for Sunderland last season, who, as we know, dramatically went up in the playoff final. So had a really, really good season. They were kind of sitting third, but a long way off the top 2 for kind of most of the way. They were very, very comfy. Stephen, I'll bring you in, mate, as you know the man for a manager. What's your thoughts on him?
Again, mate, I think I like the look of the boy. Obviously, I think as a left back in a team that looks to dominate games, you can see that he's got good numbers going forward. I think his passing accuracy, also almost 80%, is very good for a team who wants to control game. Progressive passing, again, looking to get forward at almost 70%. Again, with crossing accuracy, like we spoke about previously, at 32%, mate, is a very good number. So I think there's a lot of positives there for us in terms of going forward and controlling the ball on that left hand side. I think he would bring a lot to the team in terms of in terms of how we wanted to play. And then you look at the other side of it, obviously defensively, which as a left back you predominantly you should be looking at defensive duels at 60%. Obviously, he's a good number, but interceptions and recoveries at 4.4 and 7.8. It's a very good high number of interceptions recovery. So he's got a good engine on him, getting around the park and getting up and down and winning the ball back for the team, whether that be obviously high up as we're looking to press or potentially a wee bit deeper if they've been hitting the break. He looks like he'll get you can look at that heat map on the left hand side there. He certainly gets his cell up and down. So I definitely think he's one that I would certainly be looking at anyway, especially with his contract coming up. But he's still 23, so again, a wee bit of room for improvement potentially. And at 6 foot for a left back, probably we've not really had that wee bit of height on that left side for a while, even though Barisic was obviously poor in there. Since then, it's always been a wee bit more diminutive, so might offer you that wee bit more stability at the left hand side of that defence.
I think so, mate. I actually was thinking his market value is quite big. So I wonder if he does get a contract, does he sign a contract with Sunderland? Would kind of a team in the Premier League kind of maybe have fancy him? The kind of couple of games I watched him last season for Sunderland, he seemed to be a guy who liked a tackle, liked to get stuck in. But then once he get the ball back, he had a wee bit of quality to kind of pick a teammate out or kind of drive on. For me, a big king for us, if we're going to be high up the pitch controlling games, if you're going to have nearly 8 recoveries a game, that's all for it for me, because then that's a team could think they're going to step up and catch us out and he's won the ball back, and then we're turning back on them and they're maybe higher up than what they're supposed to be, and that's where you can catch teams out, especially domestically.
Definitely, yeah, definitely one that I would be interested in anyway, mate, if it was me looking at it for the inside.
I agree, mate, 100%. It'd be something that'd be, obviously we don't know his kind of wages are at, but some a kind of an avenue I'd maybe explore. So we're going to leave Dennis and move on to our next person, and it's somebody who was linked with the club in the summer, Javi Mbayamba. He plays for Volendam in the Eredivisie. 23 again, 6'5" for a centre half. 1.3 million market value, and again I can't remember who kind of broke it, but they're obviously, I think us and Bruges probably either just before we played each other, I think came out the twos were having a wee eye on him. Stats: 10 games, 1 goal, 84% passing accuracy, long passes 50%, progressive passes 11.5 per game, 73.4% accuracy, defensive duels 72.4%, aerial duels 44.8%, interceptions 6.3, recoveries 9.8, and clearances 3.2. So I know Voldendam, they're a kind of struggling side in the Eredivisie. I think kind of bottom half to try to keep staying in the division. I'd assume if there's any Voldendam fans watching, and I mean, no disrespect if that is wrong, but Stephen, I'll bring you in, pal. I mean, the chart on the right, he is very, very high in certain areas, like obviously progressive passing. Even looking at 11.5 per game, and then you kind of put it into that chart across, you see how high it is in terms of other centre backs in the league.
I know, definitely, mate. That's the thing that sticks out for me, and dare I say it without people jumping on at me. It's something that we've maybe lacked a bit since I feel since Connor Goldson left. That progressive pass. I know John Souttar can sometimes. His passing is sometimes there, but I think you miss that coming through that right hand side. I thought Goldson was very good at it, and this boy obviously, Bayamba looks like he's got that, can offer that as well. Like you said, compared to other centre backs in the league, it's one of the highest in the top 5% of progressive passing. But obviously, I think all round his numbers are very good. His passing accuracy for the centre back is very high, which is obviously something that we probably be looking at, considering how much you're going to be in control of games. Centre backs get the ball quite a lot more than what you normally maybe used to in years gone by. But even the other side, like we look at the interceptions, recoveries, defensive duels, all very high numbers. The only one that you maybe look at and go, he can maybe be in a better sort of bracket is maybe aerial duels. For a centre back, obviously the numbers maybe not what you would expect and what you would hope. But again, when you're at a team like Rangers and you're looking to dominate games, everything else that goes round about that, definitely is something that you should be looking at. Obviously, a young boy again at 23, got room for improvement. I know obviously when we were linked in the summer there was a lot of talk of him maybe not being the next Virgil van Dijk, but being that sort of profile of player. And that's not a profile that you should be sniffing at all, mate. Definitely a good aim to be try to get to. But again, mate, for a team who looks to dominate games in possession, especially so high up the park, it's definitely somebody that I would look at and be interested in.
So you obviously were the kind of way the boys in the summer. There was most days were saying go and do it then. Never mind now, you could potentially send him for nothing, or we cut a wee kind of cheaper deal now. But and especially then you're looking at teams, if Club Brugge, you're looking at them and you've seen what they've managed to establish with like a player trading model, 30, like bringing boys in, youth people. Obviously they've got a good youth bringing in as well, but they're selling players now for 20, 30, 35, and they are a club for us and Celtic on that. That's what we should be kind of aspiring to be. And obviously Bruges are putting in good European performances like we have, but they're doing it in the Champions League, obviously a 3-3 draw against Barcelona in the last game. So for me, he would be an absolute no-brainer. An absolute no-brainer. We're obviously going to have to reinforce the defence with the Souttar Tavernier out of contract, and then obviously we've got 4 loanees. Even if you went out like even 1.3 million, I would give them it.
No,
I think it looks really, really good, mate.
100%, mate. Definitely somebody that, like we said, when it came out in the summer, obviously, I guess I wasn't in the journal at that point, but one that I was very interested in, mate. And like you said, if you've got that opportunity to go and get him on a steal, and manage to get him for nothing, then it couldn't work any better for you, I don't think. So again, mate, it's definitely somebody that I feel like we should be looking at.
I think I agree. The only thing I would look at is real Jules, but then I wonder at 6'5" how many times teams are actually proper hoofing the ball towards them, or they try to avoid them.
Especially, I think, mate, obviously, Eredivisie is a lot more technical league than ours. You probably don't get, like you said, that many hoof balls up the top and him having to go and challenge a striker on the corner on the last man. You probably see that a lot more in here than you would in the Eredivisie. So maybe something that you would need to get acclimatised to that. Try to get turned quickly if people are just looking to go over the top of him. But I think, mate, with everything else that he brings to the table, you would hope that would be something that we could overlook and try and maybe even remedy.
I agree, mate. So this is one that most of us in the journal are kind of hopeful will reappear in January as a kind of serious link. Obviously, we've got a host of players. We've kind of whacked them all together and we've picked 20 of what we think are the best for this series, and then there's going to be a few on the socials as well. So we're going to move on. Our second last player is Abubakar Bari, 25 years of age, 6'3". He is a central midfielder, plays for Austria Vienna in the Austrian Bundesliga. Market value €2 million. He's played 12 games this season, 2 goals, 1 assists, passing 34.8 passes per game, 79% accuracy. Long passes, we get about 2.1 a game, 60% accuracy. Progressive passes is 4.2 with an 86.3% accuracy. Passes to the final third, 3.8, and we're hitting 71.7% of those. Defensive duels won is 58.9%. Aerial duels is 23.5%. Interceptions 2.7 per game. Recovery 6.8. I did actually watch a few clips because obviously a couple of boys were talking about him. He just looks like a monster box to box centre midfielder. So I'll bring in Stephen. What is your early thoughts, mate, when looking at our stats here on Mr. Barry?
I looking at him, mate, it's not something that I've actually seen in the flesh. Obviously, though, just looking at the numbers, he's definitely somebody that I would be interested in. You've got to look at everything that we spoke about in the past, really, in terms of teams controlling a game. You look at his progressive runs, his offensive duels, his dribbling per 90, all in the 90s again. Successful attacking actions per 90 again in the 90s. So, like you said, I mean, a midfielder who seems to control games going forward. He's got very good numbers. With his passes into the final third, 3.8, 70 odd percent. So, and progressive passes, obviously moving the ball forward, which is something we need to get a wee bit better at. Again, at 4.2 and 80.6.3%. Very, very good numbers, mate. Like I said, I've not seen him personally myself, but the numbers speak for themselves really for me, particularly that way. And like you said, obviously, when you have watched him, he's looked very good box to box. You can see that as well a wee bit on the other side with the defensive duels and etc. So it's got good numbers at 60%. It's maybe not the highest, but the biggest one is that 6.8 recoveries in the middle of the park, getting himself about the park and breaking up play and recovering the ball so that we can we can then turn teams over. And he obviously then got that wee bit of quality, mate, to get us forward. So again, mate, I'm definitely a player that looks like he would suit our sort of setup, and in a league that's probably on par round about with ours in terms of quality wise. You're not looking at a lot of teams with not looking at a lot of teams that are going to be better than Austria Vienna. And obviously, if you're looking to control games, he definitely seems like the type of player that we should be keeping an eye on.
I think so, mate. Obviously, watched us against Sturm Graz under Russell Martin, and we were hopeless. And even in the second half, we probably should have took something for a game, and they're the current best team in Austria. The big thing for me watching them was how big, how physical he was. So when you're talking about Scottish football, I think he would acclimatise very well to the kind of rough and tumble. He's obviously it's a very physical league, but there's not many big guys who can put themselves about and have equality when they get on the ball as well. So he was a very good blend for the kind of clips I've seen, and it would again be somebody I would be maybe having a wee look at if it was me. Just ticks a lot of boxes, and obviously we're going to have a bulk of 6, 7 centre midfielders. So to have somebody like that who offers something completely different, when you maybe look at the size of Conor Barron, the size of Lyle Cameron, just adding that sheer physicality would be a no-brainer for me.
No, definitely, mate. I would definitely agree on that. It's definitely something that you probably look at and try and get a bit more physicality in the midfield. Yeah, 100%, mate.
Absolutely. So we'll leave Abubakar Barry, and our final player for episode 3 is from our German friends Hamburg, and it's Ransford Königsdorfer. He is 24 years of age, 6 foot. His market value currently is €6 million. Obviously, Hamburg just been promoted back to the Bundesliga as well, after many years in the second tier. So this season he's played 10 games. He scored 1 goal with an XG of 3.6 with no assists. Dribbles 1.9 per game, 46.7% accuracy. He averages 3.6 touches in the opposition box per 90 minutes. 14.8 passes, 72% accuracy. And we've got 1.8 progressive runs, 1 recovery, for fouls, 1.3, shots per game, 2.8 at 36% accuracy. Conversion rate, and this was pinpointed by Goldie when he put his slides together, a whopping low of 4.5%. I think he is actually playing up top for Hamburg this season, but I think we both said we've watched him. He seems to be a guy who likes to, or can also play out wide. So, what's your thoughts, mate?
Well, definitely, mate. I think obviously the numbers don't paint him out to be the prolific forward that we're maybe looking for. But I'd agree that he's maybe a striker. He's a striker playing kind of out of position. When I have seen him in the past, he's played out wide a few times, and it definitely suits that role. Rather than having that responsibility to be the man to get the goals, he can hurt teams. He's got a bit of pace. I definitely think he looks like going forward he can he would get at defenders and try and go by them and create that space for his fellow forwards to get the goals. Definitely think it's maybe not the finished article in terms of striking rate, but I think as an all round forward that he could fit across that front line in terms and sort of give us a wee bit across all 3 positions if you were playing a forward and sort of 2 wingers essentially. Definitely somebody who could offer a bit going forward. Like you said, the numbers are low. I don't jump out. He's gonna be the main man, but having seen him, it does look like a player who could take on that role out wide and get us up the park and help us create those opportunities, mate.
I'd agree, mate. I think we did used to, in years gone by, have players who could play various positions well. And then obviously you look at, like, Gassama now to me just looks like a left winger. Ant-Man just looks like a right winger. And obviously all our strikers are strikers. So having somebody like that in your squad who can go to left or play inside, play up front if you've maybe wanting to go 2 up top, or you've got maybe some injuries or a suspension, I think it makes a lot of sense. And even for Hamburg, who, let's face it, they're looking to stay in the division. Just back up. They're looking to re-establish themselves as a Bundesliga side. They've had some good results. They've had some bad results. But I mean, he's in his percentiles for the league among strikers who have obviously played at least 4 games, is quite high. Like his shots, offensive duels won, quite high numbers. So I think there is qualities there, because obviously we are the opposite of Hamburg in terms of we're not looking to survive doing anything. We're looking to be your best, and obviously that's not the kind of team he's in just now. It would have been interesting actually if we could have got his numbers from last season in the Bundesliga too, because I'm sure any time I was checking the Hamburg scores, he was doing something. So I think it would be an interesting one. Obviously, if you're a decent market value, so again, if you're getting people with these values for nothing, they come and do well for you. You're churning out profits and it can get reinvested into your squad for years to come.
Aye, no, definitely, mate. I definitely agree. I know, like you said, the stats in the league that now they're maybe a bit skewed when you look at the position Hamburg are in, but like you said, coming to a team like the Rangers, you maybe get that wee bit more success at them, and that wee bit more quality when you playing around a team who's in the league should be better than where Hamburg are currently in the Bundesliga. It's obviously a much more difficult league as well that he's playing in currently than what it should be over here. So as much as the stats maybe don't jump out as the go-to man, like I said, I've watched them a few times, mate, and I've liked what I've seen. So definitely one that I would be keeping an eye on.
Absolutely, mate. I agree. And folks, that brings us to the end of our episode 3 of our 5 players on the out of contract list come January 1st, who can be discussed to sign pre-contracts. So we've got one episode to go. Stephen, I'd just like to thank you for joining us in this one, mate. It was a pleasure as always.
No, pleasure was mine, mate. Thanks for having me again.
No worries, mate. Obviously, we've got many more things in the pipeline, but this is a series we've looked forward to, and obviously, I think it's coming up trumps. Hopefully, somebody at the club is watching.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, mate. That's it. Hey, folks, that brings an end. So we'll wrap it up, and always remember, every night is a Rangers Journal night.